international community, I find that we all have one thing in common. And that one thing is we all go through changes in our lives. Whether big or small, those changes can come in the form of physical appearance change, or change in mindset, or even changes in our surroundings. But it all adds up to one thing: identity. My name is Broki, and I'm going to be introducing you to a concept. The concept of identity, balance, and change. First off, I would like to start asking by everyone to think of home. It doesn't have to be an actual home. It can be certain places with certain people. Imagine the memories, the happiness, the sadness, all emotions that ever ran through your heart at the place you call home. Imagine the security, the sense of belonging. It's pretty comforting, right? Now, imagine this. The people and the places that you once thought of as your home became the past, lost in your memories. That's what happens when you grow up. Everything seems to change, but there is one most important thing, which is you. Who you are as a person, starting from your personality, your appearance, your capabilities, and your community, they all make up your identity, and it can be changed without you ever realizing. I started thinking about my identity from a very young age. I went through a lot of changes because of my family's occupation, and with that, I struggled. I couldn't find the sense of belonging. Then I find myself being consumed by my thoughts. How can I be comfortable? How do I belong to someone, some people, some place, belong to a group of people? I realized I couldn't find my home. I would like to tell a story of myself when I was 1 year old. I moved to a country in Africa called Libya. There, I learned about their culture and even started learning their language. As much as I thought I was the same as everyone in the community, everyone saw me as different. I looked nothing like them. I didn't share the same beliefs. I tried to be much like them, and I placed myself upon their standards. I stopped consuming pork, which was a habit that stuck with me for years in the hope of becoming more like them. But then I realized we have no similarities in our identity at all. It felt as if I was struggling, as if I was standing on one feet. But then I struggled. I couldn't find my balance. And before I could find the answer, the home, the sense of belonging in Libya, I moved back to Thailand. Similar things happened, and as I spoke to my relatives, my family, and my friends, they all asked me one question: "Are you even Thai?" As they noticed that my Thai skills weren't polished up like a true native Thai person. I felt something. It became clear when I rejected the school-given meal that contained pork in them. I was bullied, I was made fun of. It became clear that this feeling of lacking, the sense of belonging, came back. I didn't feel at home. I wasn't used to this change. I struggled. And I grew up and I learned to adapt to my surroundings, to changes. I learned that in order to fit in, I have to study the hardest. I have to do everything to satisfy the people around me. And everyone started to like me. I was fluent in Thai. I became smart. And most importantly, I felt secure. But was it real? Was the security something that was true in my heart? I felt strange once again. This wasn't who I am. I am not myself, and I forced myself to be here. questions cloud up in my mind. Then I wonder one thing. Who am I? The same thing happened to me when I moved to America, this time to the Big Apple, New York City. One of the most memorable things for me was how little I felt stepping onto the pavement along the streets of Manhattan. Another thing was that I didn't feel comfortable going anywhere without my parents, as I couldn't speak English, and this became one of my biggest struggles. As I stepped onto my 5th grade class, everyone stared at me. The teacher asked me to introduce myself, and so I did. "Hello everyone, my name is Boki," I said. Then a group of girls giggled. A moment later, everyone fell into fits of giggles and laughter, and I didn't understand what was happening. Did I say something wrong? Or did I make a funny face? I wondered to myself, and I was very curious, so with my limited vocabulary, I tried asking people beside me what I said wrong. "They're laughing at your name. No one names her child Boki. It's such a funny name." Then I felt it again, the feeling that I didn't belong. Being named Boki was something that was a part of my identity ever since I was born. Now I felt like I couldn't be myself anywhere. I felt like I missed home. But I didn't have a home. I didn't feel comfortable being anywhere with anyone because I wasn't myself. Ever since that day, I asked my teacher for a new American nickname. It became Ursa. And for the 4 years that I lived in New York, that was my name. The identity of myself, being named as Boki, was lost. The desperate attempts in fulfilling the standards, being in a different culture and trying to fit in, it altered my balance, and once again, it felt as if I was standing on one leg trying to find balance, but I couldn't. I couldn't get my foot up in the air. Then I started thinking, I started reflecting. Who am I? Who will I be in the future? And what can I do for myself to feel that I have a home? I realized that when being put in a different environment, especially in a new environment, you find that you cannot find your balance. You find that you're not used to this new change. That was what I felt. But I realized something. In America, I didn't have to change my name. I didn't have to be anyone that I wasn't. And I didn't have to change my own identity, didn't have to force myself to be someone I didn't. I realized that there could have been balance that is present in my identity if I had understood one thing. The concept of identity is complex, and by reflecting and embracing your identity, you become balanced to incoming changes. As I moved back to RIS in 9th grade, as I moved to Thailand and enrolled in RIS in 9th grade, it felt the same. I felt new, strange. Everyone was staring at me. And I couldn't put down the same path and become someone else that I wasn't. Instead, I changed my name. I became Boki again. And as I stepped into the classroom, nobody cared. They treated me as everyone else, and I felt secure, safe. I feel comfortable. I didn't feel like I'm pressured to fit in anymore, and I realized that the person who I used to be came back. Now that I feel secure and had friends and felt safe, I understood one thing. That in order to become used and balanced through for incoming changes, you have to embrace, you have to self-reflect, and you have to understand that it might not happen in one day or a week or a month. It may take years. But if you just start embracing yourself, be yourself, and didn't force yourself to be in any situation that you wanted to be in, happiness will come to you. I understand that everyone here will go through changes someday, maybe even right now or after my talk. In the future, you have the opportunity to change yourself. But as you go through changes, big or small, I want you to remember one thing. You have to remember that you have to embrace your identity in order to become balanced to change. That was what I learned after 4 times of moving around. Now, I stand here, I ask everyone to be confident in who they are, your identity, your name, everything about you. Be proud of yourself. I am proud of who I am, so I will introduce myself again. My name is Boki, and I am proud to be who I am today. And by remembering everything that I have said so far, I embrace my identity, I embrace the Boki in me. I find myself being able to put down my foot and find a solid base in my identity. Thank you.